you talked about Connor Bedard skipping the World Championships and how it could affect his chances on Team Canada. Is there a way, look, I mean, he's close to top of the league in scoring, that in hindsight, the leadership of Team Canada can say, you know what, kind of a selfless decision to go work on his game and recognize that he needs to improve to be a better player? And do you think maybe in the moment it looked bad for him, but now in hindsight, could this be a decision that maybe makes Team Canada think a little more highly of him?
Yes, I think so. And if you look at, he was invited to their orientation camp late in the summer. So there must have been some sort of conversation between the camp, the Bedard camp and Team Canada. And then, yes, I mean, they want the best players from the standpoint that there's a lot at stake for them at the Olympics. I mean, they are expected to win. They expect to win. And they're going to take their best players. And when I say their best players, Connor Bedard, obviously, he's could be the MVP of the league right now. Let's not kid ourselves.
Making a case.
So if you pick your team based on just the fact that we're going to take our best players, he's on your team right now. But John Cooper and the staff have to decide, what do we need from experience? What do we need situationally? What do we need because we're going to be playing in a smaller rink? Do we need bigger players? Do we need to play more of a grinding style of game to beat some of these European teams and obviously the U.S.? So there's going to be a lot that goes into that decision. If the team was picked today and the Olympics started tomorrow, I think Connor's on the team. I do. So, there's still, a couple months that those decisions will have to be made in, but he certainly set himself up to a position where it's almost like, how do you not take him?
Right. Well, I mean, you've not in a NHL participation year, but you've been part of picking a Team USA team and within the Olympics. And what is that process like? What is that like?
I can tell you from
how much do you actually put on the who's hot now compared to who has maybe prior experience in big games and things like that? Lots
of discussion about this. So 2014 team, I was part of that staff and part of the selection because I was an assistant coach on that team. Dan Belsman was our head coach. Right. And we would meet, I would say, every couple weeks. We'd have emails that we'd go through and just kind of scouting stuff that was on that we were all connected with. And then we'd prepare for our meetings, and we'd all place our wish list of what we thought would help our team as far as the players that we thought would fit into what our needs were. So I was a third assistant. We had Pete Laviolette and Todd Richards. They were running. One of them was running power play. One of them was running PK. And I was trying to help those guys, hey, the guys that I watch over here in the Eastern Conference, because I was in Pittsburgh at the time, we got to really focus. This guy might help us on the PK side of things. So you're trying to build your pieces of what you'll need in that game. And so there's a lot of debate and arguments for which players should be and shouldn't be. But ultimately, here's the most important thing. So John Cooper's going to be on the Canadian bench. Mike Sullivan's going to be on the American bench. They have to be comfortable knowing what you're going to give me, what you're going to give me. So when there's a 5-on-3 with 2 minutes to go in the game and the game's tied, he knows and has confidence in the 3 or 5 guys that he's putting out there. That's the most important thing, because if you go back to the the Four Nations last year, Jake Gensel and Kyle Connor, who would you play more? Kyle Connor or Jake Gensel?
I would lean towards Kyle Connor.
Okay. Who would you play?
I would say Connor, too.
Okay. Who got more ice time?
Jake Gensel.
And because the coach coached him in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And he says, I know what he can give me, so I'm going to put him on the ice more. So Kyle's sitting there playing, one every 7 minutes. He can't get into the game and show the coach in a short tournament what he probably could do.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to put the coach in a position where he's got a guy on the bench that he doesn't know, because he won't put him on the ice to have that opportunity. So I think that's a lot of what goes into those decisions.
Well, that's interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I go back, you think about the Olympic teams for all these countries, but especially USA and Canada, they're all-star rosters. They're guys that are coming from other teams where they're the best player on their team or one of the top 2, top 3, and then they're asked to play different roles. I think back of, for Team Canada, I think it was 2010, you have Rick Nash on the team, but he's a 4th-line guy. How much do those players kind of have to also be willing to kind of take a little bit of a step back and like, I'm used to being 20 minutes a night and power play 1, and now I'm being asked be on the PK and grind out 10 minutes because it's such a stacked team.
I'll give you one example from last year's Four Nations. Dylan Larkin on Detroit, first line center, plays every power play, every penalty kill in Detroit, and he took a minimal role and excelled at it. So the character of the kid, again, you have to understand, and there is a lot of sacrifice to be part of a team like that. Everybody, like when Crosby goes and all these top guys go, McDavid, McKinnon, they're going to take a little bit of a less of a significant role as well. But it's not as drastic as, some of those top guys, like you said, Larkin. So I think that's important too. And again, the most important thing in a situation like that is that the coach would have already, so in this case, Mike Sullivan would have reached out to Larkin, hey, I'm looking for you on our Olympic team, but I have a role for you that is going to be different than you're playing with the Red Wings. So what do you think about this? I think he can't go into it thinking he's going to be on the first line, show up, and he's playing on the fourth line.
Right.
It has to be some process that's been kind of discussed as the years gone along, and I think that would be the plan that both Canada and the U.S., they're smart guys. They know what they're doing as they get this process. And I'm sure, with Celebrini and Connor having such great years, I'm sure Hockey Canada has talked to somebody either in Chicago or Connor directly or Celebrini directly to kind of say, here's where we're at with you. Listen, keep playing the right way. Let us worry about the selections. Play that way, and you're in strong consideration for being there.
So with the Olympics, you get a 25-man roster, 14, 8, and 3. Could you foresee a scenario where Team Canada or any of the teams really say, like, we're going to take a guy who we could look at as a specialist? So like Bedard is like a special teams guy, or let's be honest, power play guy, and we're going to use him pretty much primarily in that role, or cherry pick a player's role based on opponent. So, all right, we're playing Canada or Sweden, some of the bigger, stronger checking teams, so maybe Bedard sits this game, but we use him against Finland and some of the teams that are a little more skilled, like that sort of a thing, that sort of mindset. Or are they trying to go, we just got to take the guys that give us the best chance to win in any situation?
I think that's up for debate, too. I think the staff throws those ideas around and tried to decide what's the best thing. I'll give you another example. 2014, Dustin Byfuglien, an American, didn't make our Olympic roster. And we were in this type of an environment as coaches and staff deciding, do we take Buff? And for me, I'm not going to tell you which way I thought on it, but he's a unique player that does something different and is better than everybody else in the world at one thing. Do you take him just for that position? Power play, 5-on-3, stick him at the net front, whatever right. It was going to be. But that's the argument that you try to have, and then you decide, well, is it worth a roster spot? Or is it worth taking a veteran player that might be more boisterous and better in practice to keep the energy up? Everybody has different specialties that they add to a team. But that's a great example of throwing different ideas. That's what the head coach wants. He wants people in the room to throw different ideas and scenarios up there so you can get full discussion on what your roster will finally turn out to be.